if I pronounced you right.
You did, Phil. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sharron, and I am a recovered alcoholic. My sobriety date is September 26, 2016. I have a sponsor. He has a sponsor. Sponsor has a sponsor. I've been able to sponsor men and women. What that means, I take them through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, line by line. And as a result of me going through, I had a spiritual awakening. Right? I had a spiritual awakening as a result of the 12 steps. And the people that I took through the book, sponsored them, right? Walk them through the book. They in turn sponsor people, right? Like that's how it should go, right? That's what it says in the book, at least, right? That's my purpose. If you're new to Alcoholics Anonymous, welcome, 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 welcome. Looking at this room right now, look like you guys have become an international family here as well, right? Thank God for this lovely platform, Zoom, where we can have our AA meetings, right? Our meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, if you're new here, I was told to jump all the way in and sit all the way down in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I promise you, your life will change, right? I was also told that, you know, once I leave for me, it was it's only drinking for me. Like once I was able to separate from the alcohol, my life will get better, right? And we all experience that, you know, the first like 60, 90 days, like, oh my gosh, I had clarity. This is great. This is amazing. But when I do the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, I get better. I get better, right? So I'm just going to read a little something from my handy dandy book, you know, approved literature. Bill's story, page 7. And I read this because it just puts me right back in that place, right? In that place of, I'll just read it. It was a devastating blow to my pride. I, who had thought so well of myself, of my abilities, of my capacity to surmount obstacles, was cornered at last. My back was up against the wall. Like I had all of these, like I had all of these accomplishments that I've done, but that one thing, alcohol, nothing, I couldn't beat it. My back was up against the wall. Now I was to plunge into the dark, joining the endless procession of sots, drunks, right? And for me, I remember, like I was like, yeah, I'm a drunk. Like I can't stop drinking. Like I cannot stop, and like I need alcohol. I cannot not drink, and I can't like I need it. And boy, was that was a blow to my pride. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Me, alcoholic? I want to clutch my pearls, right? I thought of my poor wife. There had been much happiness after all, right? So my life wasn't, like my entire life wasn't doomsday, right? But something happened. There was this line, something happened where I know what happened. The progression of alcoholism. The progression of alcoholism. I didn't start that way, but I surely finished that way. Right? What would I not give to make an amends? But that was over now. No words can tell of the bitterness. No words can tell of the loneliness and despair I found in a bitter morass of self-pity. Quicksand stretched out around me in all directions. See, I had this hole in my soul, and the alcohol wasn't working. And it felt like I was going down fast. Like before I was able to like balance some stuff out, like dance around and make little moves and you know, get a, like I was going down so fast, and I couldn't capture anything. And you know, like the story, like Bill talks about, like the days of the past, like I couldn't even see the past. I was just like being swallowed. And this hole was like gaping, like it was grabbing everything. I met my match. I had been overwhelmed. Alcohol was my master. That was Bill's first step, right? Every time I read that, I get chills because that's exactly how I felt when I reached Alcoholics Anonymous. I had this hole in my soul and nothing was working anymore. See, there was a time when I can buy stuff, I can date, I can go on trips, I can get like all of these things. I can do stuff. Like the money was work, all of this stuff was working. And there was even a point where the alcohol was working. And how do I know I wasn't feeling the pain. I was able to blot out my life with alcohol. Then it stopped working. How do I know it stopped working, you ask? I started to feel the pain and I wasn't getting drunk. And that quicksand was coming. And I couldn't do enough fast enough to get just to get me like a little, like I didn't even want, I don't want a great day. I just don't want to feel like I did yesterday. But I couldn't stop drinking. So for me, the alcohol couldn't be the problem because I needed it. So, all right, let me think about what else could be the problem with you, this, that. So I reached Alcoholics Anonymous. I had a hole in my soul and it was gaping. Like I said, it was grabbing everything, right? So I was born in Germany, raised in Far Rockaway, Queens in New York City, right? And my mom, I don't know if she was an alcoholic. She drank Coke 45 every single day. My dad was a heroin user, crackhead later. And I remember my entire life, I wanted to use those reasons to be the reason why I was a drunk. Not it. It's not it. It wasn't, their stuff wasn't the reason why I was an alcoholic. Something happens when I drank alcohol. I can't tell you when it happened, when it started, like in pickled cucumber. I don't know about any of that stuff, but all I know is that something, like 1 minute I was like, yeah. And the next minute I was like, oh my God, I need a drink. I need a drink. This invisible line, I couldn't control it. When I said I'm not going to drink, I drank anyway. I couldn't control a stop and a start of my drinking. I stopped, like I couldn't stop. And I started when I didn't want to start, right? And what does that really look like, right? So if you're new and you're sitting here and you haven't really figured it out and you think that you're not like me or like the other 190 or 98 boxes here, if you think that you're not like me, turn to page 40 and answer those questions. Right? It says if you think that you if you can't control it, if you don't have any control, or you don't know how much you drink when you start drinking, possibly, just possibly, you might be an alcoholic. But don't worry, don't fret. There is a solution. There is a solution. See, I didn't know that there were people that didn't drink alcohol and were happy. Repeat, I didn't know that there were people that didn't drink alcohol and they were happy. I didn't know those people. I had no clue. I've heard of Alcoholics Anonymous, but I thought you all were miserable. And I thought it was like a thing where I can just be like, oh, give me a little AA. All right, see you later. Give me a little more AA. All right, see you. Like, that's what I thought. It's amazing how me, the drunk, stayed so far from alcohol. How did I not know? Like, no idea about what Alcoholics Anonymous does. But you all sat in a circle and talked about how you couldn't drink. And then, then you could drink. I didn't know it was you lovely people here. Right? You lovely people that had lives and did just lived a full life, right? The book tells me that my best years are ahead. What? I didn't even get to them yet. And I think my life is amazing today. So if you're new and you're just getting here, yes, you heard me. My life is amazing today, right? Today. When I got here, I thought it was the end of my life. I said, I remember thinking when I turn 50, I'm gonna come to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous because by then my life will be over and who cares by then? I am not 50. Thank God God had another plan for me, right? Thank God I did reach you guys. And you guys gave me some coffee and some cookies and told me to sit down. And then you let me cry. And you guys started talking about stuff. And when you talked about your stuff, right? I think you guys call it experience, strength, and hope. I started to tingle inside. And I cried even harder. Right. And I didn't know that I was identifying with what you guys were saying and all of these things. And I had no clue what this thing was. Right. But I sat there. Right. And I remember when I walked into the church, I sat in the back. Yes, I did. Right. That last lovely row. And then I remember watching everybody, and I couldn't hear anything in the back. Right. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't hear, but I was there. All right. You got me there. Right. And then I kept seeing people go through this door, like a bunch of people got up and went through the side door. And I was like, where are they going? Too scared to ask the question, right? I'm in the back row. And then all of a sudden this woman, Alcoholics Anonymous, thank you. This woman came to me and said, hey, honey, sit up front with us. And I said, no, wait. I'm gonna do it next week. I'm thinking I'm blah, 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 blah. And she grabbed my hand. And when they was going through that door, that was the beginner's meeting where I should have been. In the bathroom, and the cookies and the coffee, all that stuff was there. I had no clue, right? So what she did for me, right? So if you're new sitting here, right? So what she did for me was she pulled me all the way to the front. Every time I walk in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, I sit in the front row. I'm in the front row, baby. I want the front row seats, right? So I'm sorry, my brain jumps around. So please forgive me because I am going to jump around. I am going to jump around. So my parents, you know, they had their stuff, right? It's not why I'm a drunk. But they both died by the time I was like 24 or 5 or something like that. My numbers get all funky. And they died. You know, I was like I was one of those kids that I can slide, like, you don't even see me coming, I slide right under, right? Like, and I use that to my advantage a lot of times. Like, I don't make a lot of noise, right? So people are looking over here and I can slide right through. I slid in clubs, I slid in places, I slid out of places. I've done a lot of sliding, right? And I'm not chameleon. I can be anything you want me to be. And even as a sober woman, I have to be careful of that. As a sober woman, because I can just change. Like, oh, what are we doing? Oh, okay, that's great. Let's do it. You know. But today, you guys gave me tools to make decisions and choices, which is a blessing. So I took my first drink at 13. It wasn't really my first drink. It was my first voluntarily drink. I was on a boardwalk. Me and my friends, we smoked a joint. We smoked some joint cigarettes and drank peach Cisco. I didn't get the woo-ha moment. I come from Alcoholics and Addicts and No Recovery. I seen what alcoholism does, right? I was the kid that was stepping over to all adults. I wanted no part of it. Like, I only did it because my friends did it. And then it got to another point. They said, we're not drinking anymore. And I was like, all right, cool. We're not drinking anymore. And that was it, right? So life is lived forward and understood back, right? So now I can see things in my life. When I got married to my ex-husband, I was, 22, 23, round about the same time my parents died. My ex-husband used to beat me. And that was when my drinking started to change. I started to utilize alcohol to cope with the beatings, right? To make me feel different, to make me not feel, to get out of myself, to hide, to like all of these things. And yeah, so that's what I did, right? Like, that's what I did. Like, that was my drinking pattern. And I started to hide my alcohol then. And I was 22, 23 years old. I hid my alcohol all the way up till I was 42 years old till I stopped, right? And then even when I lived alone, I hid my alcohol. I just hid my alcohol. Like, I lived, I don't know, right? It's almost like I was hiding it from myself. I don't know. So I have this weird relationship with alcohol. I know it's kind of weird. I don't really say anything. I'm walking around with alcohol in my purse, showing up at places with my girlfriends, and we're drinking like one drink in front, and I'm going to the bathroom, hitting my bag and my bottle in my bag. And I think that this is normal, right? But not really that normal, because I'm not telling people, right? So they go that little thing, right? So I'm sneaking this thing because I know it's not, people are not really doing this, but I am, right? So I do this for a bit, and then I have my kids, I have my babies, I have 2 children at this point. I'm living in the Bronx, New York, and I am chaotic. What does that mean? Everything I touch is chaotic, right? The people I come across, I have a problem with everybody. I have a problem with like the people in Starbucks, the people on the subway, the people, like everything is a problem. What does that look like, you might ask, right? I'm trying to figure out what they're thinking about me, and if I'm showing up and I'm being a person that they want me to be, and then I think they hate me, so I think I have to hate them because like they didn't say good morning fast enough for the person and hold the door for me, and all of this is going on in my head. Nothing out of my mouth. The chaos. And these are all of my relationships that I'm going into, right? Like all of them. These are, I don't even know their names, but they're taking up space in my head. And they're controlling how I act, right? So I walk around with this little funky face, right? Because I don't want you to get too close to me, because I want to play like I am tough and I'm mean and I'm like, ah. Oh, thank God today I don't live like that. Today is I'm chaotic. Things are horrible. Somehow I always had a belief of God. Always had a belief of God. And in fact, I mentioned I was the only child. Like I used to talk to God, right? So if I say the word God and that makes you bristle, ask yourself why. Turn to page 47, right? Ask yourself, what does that mean to you? Just simple question. When anyone says the word God, and then turn to page 13, 12 or 13, and then you can pick any one of those lovely words. Spirit of the universe, creative intelligence, like you could, whatever, however, whatever makes you comfortable, right? Because for me, I use God, right? Higher power, HP, right? Somebody, they was like, HP, baby, right? Whatever you want, right? So always had this belief of God, and I used to talk to God, and God would do things for me that, like, he would just show, like, I would get pulled out of stuff where people would say to me, like, how did that happen? I don't know, right? So here I am in this abusive marriage, and God makes miracles, and I get removed out of the marriage. I get placed in like this lovely home, and everything is great. And I meet some really, really great people that have a really, really great idea. And that really great idea lands me in federal prison a year and a day. And everybody said, oh, you're lucky to get that day, because the day actually reduced my prison time. And I remember thinking, there's no way I'm going to prison. I've never been arrested before in my entire life. And I know a bunch of criminals that did not go to jail. And I said, all the judge needs to do is see me. The judge will see me and say, oh yeah, she's not a criminal. And I'll get like probation. And then, I'm a rule follower. I can follow rules. And then that'll be cool. My judge walked in with a CNI dog. The judge was blind. So the judge did not get to see me. I did go to prison. But even sitting in prison, I remember thinking, God just did something for me. God saved me from me, because I was living a reckless life. I had no boundaries and 2 babies. Repeat, no boundaries and 2 babies. And I was just moving in life, right? Chaotic, moving. And then like I was chasing money, success, all of the things that I thought was going to fill the hole in my soul, right? The hole later that I started to use alcohol for. Like that hole has been there. I don't know this until now. I look back and I can see the hole was always there. And I can see all the external things that I tried to push and shove into this hole. And sometimes it worked for about 30 seconds or, whatever. I buy the thing and I'm like, oh, look, it's shiny and bright. And then all of a sudden I need the next shiny and bright new thing. And then I need the next new shiny and bright new thing. And that was the story of my life. Where is the next new bright, shiny thing? That and alcohol, right? So I come out of prison, and I get this. I get the job on Wall Street. I get my I get my college degree, job on Wall Street. Now I have arrived, right? And Bill's story, when it was suggested that I look through Bill's story. The first page 1 to 8 is Bill's progression. I highlight everything that I can relate to: how he think, how he drank, and how he felt. How he think, how he thought, and how he felt. How he thought, how he think, how he thought, how he felt, and how he drank. Those 3 things, right? So for me, I'm like Bill said, he worked on Wall Street. I don't have that circled. That's nothing, right? Well, I'm not trying to compare where we worked or identify that we worked on Wall Street. No, it's about why he drank, right? That exhilaration, like his progression, like that's the things that I need to relate to. Right. So I get, so now I'm fabulous, right? My outsides are looking amazing. My outsides are amazing. My insides are on fire. The whole of my soul is there. I'm not, so what I know now is that nothing will fill that hole in the soul but God, right? I had no clue. So all of these things that I'm trying to do is not working, right? And then so I'm managing my life, I'm managing your life, I'm managing their life, like I'm managing everything and nothing is working. So my fiance at the time says, hey, let's move to New Jersey. Now I do know I'm a drunk at this point. I knew I was a drunk since about maybe 20 years old. I was like, this drinking thing is a little weird. Can't really tell anybody. I know it was weird. I just called it weird, right? And I thought somewhere it would like disappear. I don't know. So my fiance says, let's move to New Jersey. And if you all are anything like me, you know exactly what happened in New Jersey. Yep. I became a drunk soccer mom. My kid didn't play soccer, but he played basketball and football. And he played some AAU basketball. And everywhere I showed up drunk, right? So what does my drinking look like? I'm always drunk. I throw on some headphones. I go to do my errands, BJ's, Walmart. I'm drunk. I show up at AAU games. I'm drunk. I show up at high school games. I'm drunk. I show up at the away games. I'm drunk. I drive people's kids and I'm drunk. I showed up at church drunk. I am always drunk. I am a morning drinker, right? I drink, I don't know. I do know. The summer of 2016, right? So I get to New Jersey and the chaos is still there, right? Of course the chaos is still there. I have not yet found the solution. The hole is getting bigger and now I'm trying to manage more, right? Like that's the progression, right? Now I got to do a lot more and none of it's working. Right? I might get a quick little like glimpse of like, oh yeah, look what I did. And then all of a sudden it blows up or something else happens, right? So I'm trying to put out all the fires. I got to manage you because I need you to do exactly what I need so I can feel better. Sometimes I do that as a sober woman as well, right? Thank God for these steps. So I run around. My children don't want to hang out with me. Life is really not, my relationship is horrible. Page 52, man. Right now, if you're sober, whatever it is, that is my barometer. How are my personal relationships? Can I make a living? And that doesn't mean making a paycheck. Can I live in my skin? Am I comfortable? Am I full of fear? Am I useful? Like ask yourself, 52, the barometer of your life. Where are you? And if you're check, I can't do this, check, I can't do blah, blah, blah. First of all, where's God? And it's my alcoholism, right? It's that. It's all of that stuff, right? So that is my barometer of how well I'm doing today, right? I came in all over the place. But today, I can easily get like that. So if you're sitting here with decades of sobriety, right? Ask yourself, page 52, How are my relationships? And people always like, oh, my relationships are fine. I'm like, really? You just said you had a fight with your kid and you're not talking to this person, you're not talking to that person. Oh yeah, I don't want to talk to my whole family, but your relationships are fine. Okay. Right. And then people are sitting here with decades of sobriety and they can't even, really? Wow. Okay. So summer 2016, the best and the worst, right? Everything was horrible. Horrible. The whole of my soul is big. The whole of my soul is big and nothing is working. And I found this article that said, you know, like I was a morning drinker, I drank like everything, like right. So I found this article that said, you know, vodka had less calories. So I started drinking vodka straight up, no ice, no chaser, putting it in water bottles, running around New Jersey. And you know, every day that calamity that the books talks about, right? What is calamity? The noise in my head, the constant, like that hamster wheel, the stuff, like the calamity, right? I don't know if you could relate to that, like that stuff, right? Every day I would wake up with that stuff in my head. And I just was like, man, today is going to be the day that impending doom. What does that look like? Today is going to be the day I get pulled over, I lose my job, my man is going to leave me, my kid, like something's going to happen. Every day I woke up like that. Every single day. And I would just drag myself. I would go to work, come home, lock myself in my bedroom, get drunk, go to pass out, wake up the next morning, hit the bottle again, go to work, do whatever, come home, like the same thing over and over and over and over again. That was my life. So the summer 2016 is like September and things are bad. And this one day, so I will say that I just had a thought. I did visit Alcoholics Anonymous, right? I visited you guys in 2015 and I was like, oh, thank you for the lovely books. You guys set me up. They gave me a big book of 12 and 12. I was like, thank you very much. And I went off, right? I was like, this is not for me. But what I did do with those books, when times got really bad, because of course they would, I would turn to the back. Like I didn't know how to work the book, right? That's why you can't do this alone. You cannot do this alone. And you don't have to. You have a bunch of people that have done it before that are absolutely willing and able to take you through these steps. So I would read the book from the back and then I would cry. I didn't know I was identifying. And then I would date the book. So I showed up to you guys in 2015, right? 2015, looking for a solution for the whole of my soul. And then I wasn't ready. And I went back out. And then when I showed up again in 2016, well, before I even showed up, right? So I love how like recovery starts without my permission. God starts working in my life without my permission. God doesn't need me to let him in. God, surprise, God is already there, right? God has never left me. I need to acknowledge God's presence. I need to acknowledge God's presence. God is already there. Deep down in every man, woman, and child is a fundamental idea of God, right? But I got this noise in my head and I can't really, right? And then I got all of this stuff and I'm blocked from God. And that is what the steps is designed to do, right? This is not a self-help program, people, right? Not at all, right? So a lot of times people go through the steps and I'm like, hey, so are you sponsoring? No. Oh, I can't sponsor people, really? How do you think you get it? You get this program by giving it. You get the program by giving it. When they talk about the work, me going through the steps is not the work. It's when I go take somebody else through the steps. That's the work. And then I can't sponsor. Oh, you think you're getting people sober? Knock it off. The ego. I don't get people sober. All I'm doing is reading the book the way it was read to me. That's it. God is going to make all of this other stuff happen. God does this. I don't do anything. I just show up and I say yes. And God comes through me. I don't do this. I don't have the power. If I had the power, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would not be sitting here. I like you guys. I like you a lot, but I wouldn't be sitting here if I had the power. Right? That's just plain and simple. So 2016, life is crazy. I'm sad. I can't even smile. Like there was one time, I was pulling for out external stuff, and my daughter was coming over. It was a Sunday afternoon, not a cloud on the horizon, and I was so wanted her to come over. I was so happy that she was coming. I told all my friends, my coworkers, like this was going to be the day that I needed. And all of a sudden, my fiance said, "Don't drink so much today." I was like, "No, absolutely not. I need this." Like I bought the Tupperware, I bought a special food, like I was ready. And then all of a sudden, I said, "I'll be right back." And I went upstairs to my bedroom. And you already know what happened. I don't even remember. I came back down. It was 11:30 at night. My daughter was gone. The Tupperware was there. The food was on the stove. I did it again. That guilt, shame, and remorse. I have no control over when I start and when I stop. No control. No control. No power, no choice, no control. I can't even choose. Like, I don't have a choice. It's always going to be alcohol. And how do I know that? From my past experience? Your experience is great, but I can just look down my history. If you ever ask me, like, "Hey, Sharron, you want a drink or you want water?" "Oh, what are we drinking?" Right? It didn't even matter what it was, right? I would have already eyed it out or brought my own. Right? So 2016, it's a Friday. I'm trying this controlled drinking that doesn't really work for an alcoholic like me. I'm irritable, restless, and discontented. What does that mean? My mind is going insane. It's going fast, fast, fast. I'm trying to think about you and me and all of this stuff. My body, like the whole of my soul is gaping, and nothing settles with it. And I can't sit. I stand up, I sit down, I can't keep still. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And my soul is restless. My soul is restless. So the controlled drinking is not working. I don't really know, and I'm driving myself insane. I am better drunk at this point. When I'm drunk, I'm quiet, I'm in my bedroom. When I am not drunk, I am miserable, and guess what? I will make you miserable. That's all I know. That's all I know. So I get a call from my best friend, and she says, "Hey, are you on your way?" And apparently I make plans to go to a non-alcoholic house on a Friday night to play board games with a 6-year-old. My memory is shot. I don't remember. I say yes. If you knew, yes, right? We often talk about willingness. What is willingness? Willingness is saying yes when you don't know why, saying yes when you don't want to. Right? My mind was saying, no. All of a sudden, my mouth, I'm like, yes. And I'm like, why did I say yes? Oh my God. And then I would get to a place, a thing, and something magical would happen. Say yes. Even if you, like I said, yes, I'll make the coffee. Yes, I'll pick up the chairs. Yes, I'll take you to a meeting. Yes, I'll take you to 2 meetings. Oh, yes, I will. Let's go to 3 meetings. Just yes. Yes, when you don't even want to. Yes, I'll go to your sober dances. Yes, I didn't want everything my mind was saying, say no. And out of my mouth, I said yes. Yes for coffee. What do we do at coffee? We drink coffee, right? So I said yes to my girlfriend. I go to this house and I don't drink. Friday, I don't drink. Sunday, I don't drink, right? And somewhere, this is what I really don't remember. Somewhere I must have looked for some stuff, or I did something. And in my mind, I'm trying this controlled drinking. So I don't drink on Sunday. And in my mind, my next drinking day is Friday. So if I can get to these 5 days without alcohol, right? On Friday, I can get drunk, good and drunk, right? And on Tuesday, God places me in Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, right? He just drops me a Fortley 6:30, a speaker meeting, and a woman that looked like me, a Black woman, was at the pulpit, and she said a bunch of stuff, but she said that all I needed was an ounce of hope. I was like, oh, I'm not even hopeless. Like, I didn't know I was hopeless. I didn't even know what hope? I hope for tangible stuff. I'm hoping for what? And then you guys came to me, and the ladies and the stuff and all, like, and then somebody said, "You gotta do a 90 and 90." And I was like, no, absolutely not. I got the gym, I got yoga, I got this, I got that. And then somebody said, "Can you come back tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah, I could do that." I said, "Are you guys open on Fridays?" Maybe I even stop by Friday. I don't know. And I came back and I came back and I came back. And I looked up, I had 83 days. That was the miracle. I drank for 25 years. And at this time, my fiance of 17 years, he left, right? He he didn't want to, like, he just couldn't do it anymore. And I was so angry. And I remember being at a fork in the road and wanting to chase him. And then looking at AA and like, but something was happening in AA. When I went to your meetings and had your coffee and had your cookies, my belly was tingling. You were saying stuff. And I was like, why are these people talking about themselves so cruel? Talking about they're fearful. Talking about they got DWIs and they're this, and why they're telling all of their business here. But I believed you. And I realized now that was my first insight to what honesty was. Right? So, and I understand why he left. Life with any alcoholic, I can make people crazy. Right? It's hard to believe. It's not easy to, to accept, but that's what happens. I had to look at my children. And one day I watched my daughter. I thought I had a plan. I was going to make my amends and I was ready. And all of a sudden, God had another plan and she spiraled. And she showed me what my disease did. And boy, did I need to see that. Because here I was sober, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And I was like, yeah, look at me here. And then I had to look at her. And it was almost like when she was 15 years old, when I was stuck in my disease. Like I was in my disease. And I am not proud to say this, when I was physical with her. I was hard, and I watched her. And that was all her stuff, was all of everything that I put on her. Man, did I need that? So I didn't drink. I stayed really close to Alcoholics Anonymous, right? I stayed super close my first year. I went to 13, 14 meetings a week. Everything you guys said. I had a sponsor, I got a network. Hey, if you're new and you're just getting here, you need a sobriety date, right? Get that date, hold on to it. I had a sobriety date. I got a sponsor. I had a network, right? I rolled with people. We went to a bunch of meetings all around Bergen County, right? I had a home group. You need a home group. This is a lovely home group. Join this home group. If you're homeless, join this home group, right? Why do you need a home group? Because when I don't show up, people come looking for me. When I do show up and I got a sour face, they say, hey, everything all right? When I show up and I say I had a problem with my daughter, they say, how did that turn out, Sharron? Right? They check on us, right? And a service commitment, that can be anything, right? That can be cookies, the thing, just service, right? Sometimes it's calling people, whatever it is, man. Get in, I am an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Active. Become an active member. Decades of sobriety, active. How active are you? Ask yourself this question, right? So second year of sobriety, I learned to live sober. How did I learn to live sober, you ask? I hung around sober people. You guys started to invite me to your weddings, to your birthday parties, to your dinners, to your baby showers, to all of these things. We started to go hiking and camping, and I was saying yes to all of these things that I am a city gal. I love camping now. Go figure. I even got camping gear, right? I said yes. And I was uncomfortable, but they held my hand and it was like, we're gonna, let's do it. Now I'm like, hey, when's the next camping trip? Who needs help with the tent? No, I don't do tents really, but I started to say yes, and I started to learn to live sober. My third year, something happened. I went through the book and I was plateaued, and I didn't really finish the 12 steps, but I was sponsoring people, and I don't know what was going on. And people said it was fine. And all of a sudden I'm doing this thing, but I'm not doing anything. And they keep telling me to pray. And I'm praying, thinking I'm praying to make an amends, right? Because I'm stuck on my meds. I'm praying this way. And all of a sudden my prayer come this way. And somebody from my home group, a guy says to me, hey, Sharron, you want me to take you through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous for a new experience? I said, yes, willingness. I said yes before I can think. And then I was like, oh my God, he's a guy, I'm a gal. Like, what are people going to say? What are people going to think? And then I was like, what do I tell people? He said, pray, ask God. And then what came out was tell them the truth. You're going through for a new experience. And boy, did I have a new experience. I had an awakening in my 5th step. And that slid me with the top of COVID, that slid me in. It cracked me open. All of a sudden, I got through the book and I'm taking people through. They're taking people through. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. Then we have this lovely platform called Zoom. And I meet a bunch of people that allow me to talk about God and a solution, right? Like, so let's just break this down. Like, the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous unblocks me from God, right? The big book is not the solution. The solution is God, right? This book leads me to God. The book leads me to God. The book is the map to God. It's always God. God is the answer. Your sponsor is lovely. God is the answer. Yeah, right? Meetings are lovely. God is the answer. It's all about your relationship with God, of your understanding. How beautiful is that? Right? So this happens around 4 years, right? So now last April, so last year this time, the phone call that I got in September when I went to go to a non-alcoholic house on a Friday night and play board games with a 6-year-old, we buried my best friend. She was the one who called me, right? She called me and said, hey, come over. And I was like, really, Friday night? They don't even drink. And I said, yes. And God chose me. He chose me to show up for her and her family. The 6-year-old is 11 years old. I was able to make pancakes and take her to school. And I watched my best friend from 13 years old die. Watch her transition, right? I changed her diaper, her peg bag, her IV, and I don't do that stuff. And God walked me through it, right? And I remember going through it. All I had was my big book, some sponsees. I couldn't really make meetings, right? The relationship with God. Every time I would she was such a, she loved God and that, so I would read her Bible, like I would do these things and all I would God did that, right? And I remember her daughter, I call her my niece now, right? I remember we were bringing her mother home to hospice, right? To die. And she runs we're like in a waiting room, and she runs over to me. The conversation earlier that day, I said to her, honey, if there's anything you want to ask me, just ask me. I'll be 1,000% honest. Alcoholics Anonymous taught me that. And if I can't find it, if I don't have the answer, I'll find it. She runs over to me, and this is like many people in this room. And she says, Auntie, is mommy going to die? And I look at her, everybody else in my mind disappears. And I say, yes. And all of a sudden, the story of me losing my mom comes right to the front of my brain. In the 9th step promises, it tells me about my stories can benefit others. I had no clue that, I didn't even do the connection, but I began to tell this 11-year-old, I know it's hard. It's going to be hard. I said, but I lost my mom also. And guess who was there for me? Your grandma and your mom. And I'm going to be there for you. And God walked me through that. I don't have the power. I can't do that on my own. I can't do that on my own. So we go through this, and then a few months later, right, I start to behave in a way that is unsettling to my soul. How do I know that, you ask, right? How do I know that? because I did a thorough 4th step, I did a 5th step, and I have some things that's so objectionable. And I started to behave on those things. And those things don't sit well with my soul today, and I can feel them. I can feel it, right? It tells me in the 11th step that I got this 6th sense now, right? Because I got this conscious contact with God. What does that look like? That means that when, like, I consciously go into, like, okay, God, right? I go into these moments, these spaces with God, right? I acknowledge God's presence, right? Consciously, not just like, oh, maybe like just do it and then think, well, maybe God was there. Like, no, God, walk with me. God, I am scared. God, what should I do? God, remove this feeling. Consciously go into this with God, right? So the 6th sense, right? When I am not on a beam, right? When I trip up on my own feet, because I trip up, I am perfectly imperfect. I don't get this right. And thank God, right? Because if I did, I would think that I'm God. Yes, you heard me. And sometimes I do think I'm God. And when I think I'm God, that means I'm trying to manage me and I'm managing you, because something is not sitting right. I think I'm not going to get what I think I need, and all it like I am not trusting God, right? Do I believe or do I trust in God? Believe or trust, believe or trust. I believe all day. I came in believing. Do I trust God, right? And then I can even say today, man, right? That bridge to shore. Do I trust God with everything? I have this thing, and I'm like, God, this thing with my romantic relationships. I'm like, God, I got this. And then I trip up on those things. And when I get into pain because I'm being resistant, like I got to get on my knees and I'm like, God, please, please, please take this from me. And then, so I was doing this objectionable behavior, right? So this is my network. I got a crew of people, right? So I got this crew and I said to them, hey, I'm doing this thing. And they said, you better stop. And I said, I don't want to stop, because it was feeling good and it was feeling bad. It was feeling good and it was feeling bad. Good, bad. It was making me feel good and I didn't want to stop. And I told them, and they said, you're going to get drunk. Boy, I did not like that. And they said, stop. They said, well, what is God saying? They pushed me right on to God. I was like, that's cruel. They pushed me right to God, right? Because they don't have the power either, right? No human power. The only thing they can say, well, I remember when I was going through this thing, this is what happened to me. ... Right? They don't have the power. So you can call your sponsor all day, all night, right? And it tells me God is going to judge me, right? Some people have, behaviors, what was it, like the salt something, I don't know. But like we got these crazy, like nobody should judge my sex relations or behaviors, right? Some people are loose, some people are rigid, right? So here I go, and my prayers change to God. Because if I pray for the right things, the answers will come if I honestly want them. Man, I wish I had some more time with you guys. I'm having fun. So I was powerless over this thing, powerless. And I almost forgot what powerlessness felt like, right? Like I knew that this thing it felt bad. Like it felt horrible in my soul, but I kept doing that thing. And I didn't have the power to stop it. The thing was removed from me, removed. I didn't do anything. It was removed from me, and then I had to do work around it. And part of the work around it is this, sharing it, right? Because sometimes we come to Alcoholics Anonymous, we want to talk about all the good things and not the stuff that's objectionable, right? But it says that my stories can benefit others, my experience. So that thing, right? That thing came back, and it looked a lot different this time. I still tripped up. I tripped up. I was ready to dance. But this time, having done some work, having had this experience, this time I looked at it different. The first time I was so worried about how you were going to judge me. The time it came back, something inside of my belly was flickering. My internal soul was not settled. It was more of an inside thing that was happening. That thing started to flicker. And I didn't dance. But boy, I was right there. But I need those things. I call them opportunities. The book also talks about that. Like, God doesn't cause misery, right? He doesn't want me to be miserable, but I need these opportunities so I can remember to rely on God, not self-reliance, God reliance. Because if those things didn't happen, I would rely on self, and I would think that I'm God. And I'm like, why do I need to pray? Sharron, my life is great. Right. So I got 3 minutes, and I just want to tell you about my day today and like life today. Um, life is amazing today. I was at a meeting earlier, and I have this thing where I say nothing is wrong, right? Nothing is wrong. But I'm like in this hallway because I should be saying everything is right. There's a difference. And I'm stuck in this hallway, and I'm in this space where I'm like, nothing is wrong, but everything should be right. And today I got up, went to I did a business meeting, went to a meeting, and then one of my friends, I got this awesome job, and I wish I had more time. I got this awesome job in New Hampshire, and my friend who she got sober out in Jersey. She lives in Maine, and I went to an art show and had a fabulous day. And then I went to like a job thing, like my job, like I show up to these things, and I'm like, how is this my life? Like I'm driving down the road and I'm crying because I almost feel like I don't even deserve the life that I have today. And all I did was a bunch of yeses. I said a bunch of yeses, and then I got this life beyond my wildest dreams. My name is Sharron, and I am a recovered alcoholic, and I hope I brought you a traditional message.